Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about qualities in a woman that you're going to want to look for in a long-term relationship. So right now it may feel like you have tons of options. There's online dating, there's work pools. You might still be close with people from college or even high school, hometown. There's so many different types of dating pools that are available to you right now. Meeting people may not be too difficult. So even though it may feel like you have unlimited options, it's still really important to have these foundational qualities that you're looking for in a person, especially when it comes to long-term dating, engagements, marriage, having children. These are things that build a person's character and will be with them for the rest of their life, which will be with you for the rest of your life and your growing family. So the first thing that you want to look for in a female partner is wisdom. Wisdom is not just being smart or educated. If you're super educated, it doesn't necessarily mean you're wise. When you're wise, you learn from your mistakes. You don't just continue repeating the same old mistakes again and again and again and never learning from them. Depending on your age range, if someone is in their late 20s, early 30s, you don't want to see a person repeating the same mistakes as they did in 19. Now, if they have mistakes in their life, that's fine, as long as they learn and grow from them. That's why it's important to ask questions, ask about previous dating history, ask about friends, family. All of these things are so important when you get close to someone. So learn about a person. It's proven that men like to teach when they're first meeting someone. That's just how men's brains are wired. They like to have control in a situation and teach, but you don't want to be teaching your entire life. So maybe that's important in some aspects, teaching her about your interest or hobby or something like that. But overall, you want a woman who respects herself and is taking care of herself fundamentally, emotionally, psychologically, physically, all these things. And all of that has to do with her wisdom deep inside her heart and how much she cares for herself. If she's learning from her mistakes, that means that she actually cares about the route that she's taking, the path that she's going in. It's all good signs. These are all green flags. So try to find a woman who is wise and a person who can admit mistakes. That is actually kind of a rare quality and a very great quality in a person that you want to have a relationship with, because there will be mistakes. No matter what, no matter how perfect this person seems, there will be conflicts and someone will mess up every now and again. And so if she can admit that, she can find fault and you guys can both learn and grow from that. That is so good. So some things that may hint that she may have more wisdom than other women would be older female mentors. Having a wise woman by your side is really going to be essential in those dark seasons of life when there's financial stress, when there's job insecurity, child rearing, anytime that life throws a curveball at you. Just a person who is non-reactive, can keep calm, and can just pour into you is going to be so helpful at these times of stress, more so than someone who just adds fuel to the fire, who gets activated, gets angry, quick, reactive, all these things. A wise person, not only does a wise person learn from their mistakes, but growth really matters to them. Their life, having their peace, everything, having their life together in order, these things, taking care of their young, taking care of their community. A wise person cares about all of these things. And when you can find someone who wants to pour into the health of their life and their community, it's going to affect you so much in a positive light. Some things to look for if you're looking for a wise person, someone whose spirituality is important to them. If not that, you want to see if they have long-term friends. What do people think about her at work? What do her friends think about her? Are there like lots of stories when she's catty, or is she in her late 20s or early 30s and she's still having fallout with friends? Does she come home and gossip? If she wants to come home and have you listen, that's one thing But if she seems to be caught up in office drama, gossip, things like that, that's probably not a great sign that she's wise and thinking about evolving as a human. Number 2 is logic and critical thinking. So it may be a little bit hard to decipher between wisdom and critical thinking and logic, but there's actually some big differences. Logic and critical thinking, that doesn't have to come with kind of the history of wisdom, but someone who can think for themselves and isn't swayed by the masses, the group think, all of the things that culture and new waves of thinking are pouring out. She's not watching the news and trying to just ride the wave of the next generation. It's a person who can think from what's right from wrong, what makes sense, what's truth. These things really matter. The truth is going to be her core, and she's going to hold strong her beliefs. As long as you can find someone whose beliefs are similar to yours, that's a really good sign that you found a partner who can think for themselves, and you're not constantly having to have conversations where she has a new idea and she wants you to be on board, and if you're not, then you're the enemy. Like wisdom, this is also helpful for really bad times, like again, financial stress or job instability. Raising kids usually comes with a heightened emotion, so someone who can make a logical decision and isn't swayed also by other people. So if you have a specific income for your family, she's not going to be trying to keep up with the Joneses. If the neighbors have fancier cars, a bigger house, go on fancier vacations, those things may look good to her, and maybe she wants those things and she's willing to work harder, but she's not willing to put her family in a position where you're going to be in debt or to live above your means. Because logically thinking, that doesn't make sense. A logical thinking woman wants her family to be safe, secure, and she's going to be willing to do the hard work to ensure that her family stays that way. Some things that you could look for would be maybe more of a modest lifestyle. Even though she may not want to live modestly that way forever, you know that she knows the importance of having sustainable lifestyle, and you're not going to be dragged down in lots and lots of debt. Logical wives are going to be really beneficial when you're making big life choices. We talked about wise wives being essential during layoffs or employment instability or raising children. This is all going to be the same thing with logical wives, but also things like relationships with in-laws, not getting too emotionally invested in that, thinking logically what works for the family. House buying, not getting too caught up with what makes her happy, but what makes sense for the family and what's affordable. Finding the best situation for your current situation. Any type of health crisis or planning for retirement, all those funds and investments that you need to set up. A logical wife is going to come with a plan, and she's going to know what she wants. If you're looking for signs for someone who uses critical thinking or logic, definitely ask more about her role at her work. Is she a leader? Does she make long-term decisions for the company? Do people come to her for advice? Is she close with the management? And also friends. This is going to be something that friends will know almost immediately, because a lot of groups of girlfriends, we share our financial situations with each other. We share our housing situations with each other. If someone has bad credit, or we've just been really bad with our finances for forever, our friends know. And if they're willing to share that kind of stuff, then I would definitely, ask family and friends and just get a good sense, because long-term commitments definitely means you're sharing finances. So you want someone who you can trust in that sense. A future partner having their own hobbies and passions is definitely a green flag. You want a woman, you don't want a little girl. When she has her own interests, that means that she has her own life that exists outside of you. And maybe that will sound a little scary at first, especially when you're new to a relationship. It's like you want to share everything with a person. But the longer you're with someone, I think the more important that the time that you spend without your partner is also really important. It doesn't mean that you need to be apart and that's the only way you stay together. You need to have something outside of your relationship. And you also want something to talk about with your partner. If you're together all the time and you don't have any interests outside of each other, then what are you really going to talk about when conversation gets dry? You can also learn this way. If you're interested in one of her hobbies and want to even get to learn something, this is a great way to connect with your partner. When you're dating, clinginess is a issue that a lot of men struggle with, especially young men. If you first start dating someone and they seem pretty stable, they seem pretty self-fulfilled, and then you start spending all your time together and this person wants to know where you are, wants to know what you're doing. They want to eat every meal together. They want to talk and text all the time. If she's in a group or she's leading something herself, then she's not even going to have the time to be too clingy. I also think that this is a sign of maturity. If she doesn't need to be involved with everything that you do, or she doesn't need you to be involved with everything that she's in, that means she trusts you. That means she knows that you exist outside of her and she can exist out of you, and that's really healthy. You both depend on each other, you both love each other, but you don't necessarily need each other. And even though that might be kind of hard to hear, it's actually really healthy to be with someone like that who understands that. Trust me, you don't want to be the one who has to teach someone that, because that's really hard. That's almost going back to childhood attachment styles where someone has a unhealthy attachments and you are the one who has to make boundaries, draw lines and things like that. You're going to see very ugly sides of people when you have to teach them to have their own interests. Lastly, I would say you want a natural born leader. When we think of dating women, we typically don't think of leadership. Men usually look for women who are a bit more passive or submissive, but actually, I don't think that a lot of men, especially in today's age, are naturally looking for that anymore. It's really hard to have. If you look at incomes and household wages, it's really hard at this point to have a one income family. So having a woman who is going to work or knows she wants to work, now if you can afford that, that's completely different. And I think it's great to stay home, especially if you're raising kids as well. But you just have to be logical and use critical thinking. In so many regions in this country, it's really difficult to survive off of one income. So try to find a woman who's going to take charge. Again, finances, I keep repeating that, but they're so important. You want someone who's involved and who's invested and not just completely on autopilot, having you take care of everything. It's just not going to work, or if you do stay together, it's going to be very toxic. So leadership roles in so many ways. Financially, you want someone leading the family. You want someone leading your social life. Couples who stay together typically lose friendships. They lose some of their social pools. If you can find a woman who's naturally good at leading those type of things, then you have your social calendar basically mapped out for you. And while it might seem burdensome, sometimes it's good to have friends, it's good to socialize with other people. And if you can have someone who enjoys doing that, then that's a win-win for everyone. You also have to understand that layoffs and, again, employment, job stability is not guaranteed right now. And leadership, if you are married to a woman who's willing to take over for a couple years while you find yourself, or if something happens with your mental health, anything, your physical health, a strong woman who's ready to lead you, herself, and the family is someone that you want. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that as we are going out and meeting other people, that we really keep these fundamentals close to us and that we can think all the time. Yeah, someone may be bright, charming, attractive, smart, all of these things, but if they can't get down and dirty with you when things get hard, you know, You have to ask yourself, is that worth it? And do you want to be carrying so much of the relationship when you're with someone who might be a little bit immature and not necessarily sophisticated in these different ways of thinking? So it's a lot to think about. Comment below if you can think of anything else that you're looking for, any green flags, any red flags, something that gives you the ick, something that you know is just not going to work. So drop a comment below and I will talk to you soon. Thanks so much for watching the video. If you like this type of content, please subscribe to my channel and give me a like. Bye.